Today, we're going to talk about Chapter 5.3.2, Setting Standards. Establishing standards. So managers set rules for work during the planning stage of the 5 functions of management. And the rules need to be high, but possible to reach. So you got to think big, but not too big when you're setting your goals, okay? Managers need to figure out the fair rules by studying the job, using what they know, what they've learned before. They need to research the industry, and they also just need to ask the workers who are there that are experienced for advice. So those are some things that they can do as they start establishing those standards. And these rules are used to decide if they did a good job or they didn't do a good job, or if they really just need to keep everything in check. So let's begin to kind of look at some of the different types of standards, or also known as rules, that managers can encounter. So the different types of rules or standards, the rules used to run a business change depending on the business type, how big it is, and what it does. And the main rules are about these 4 areas. So how much? So that's your quantity. How good? That's your quality standard. How fast? That's your time standard. And how much it costs is your cost standard. So let's take a little bit of time to look deeper at each of these standards. Quantity standard. Rules about how much. How much are you putting out? How much are you doing? And these rules, they decide how much work needs to be done. All right, so do you have to get out 50 bicycles that you need to put together every day for the 30 days? That's your goal, right? So that's the quantity standard. How much are you putting out there? They might say how many things you need to make in an hour, in a day, or a month. And they could set also how many customers to talk to. So maybe your manager says, hey, you have to approach and talk to 5 customers today and try to get them to buy this red car. All right. So there could be a quantity standard in terms of that as well. These rules, they really help to make sure that the work gets done. So if the manager says, hey, 50 bicycles need to be put together today and put out on the floor, then that is your quantity standard that you have to reach as an employee. So quantity standards, they equal expected amount of work to be completed. Our next one is your quality standards. So these are rules about how good. So is your product good? Are you putting out a product that people are going to want to buy, or are people not going to want to buy it because it's not up to standard? So let's talk about 50 bicycles, okay? If you are putting together 50 bicycles, but you're not tightening those wheels down, and you have 3 customers complain that they went to go ride their bicycle and the wheel fell off, well, that means that the quality that you're putting out for those bicycles is not good, okay? So quality standards is all about how good that product is that you're putting out. So just working fast and getting your stuff done, getting that quantity standard done, isn't always enough. All right. You got to make sure that you're doing a good job. The work also needs to be well done. The rule talks about how well things need to be done or made, and quality standards are essential to judge the consistency in production or performance. Perfection, with no errors, may be necessary for certain products and services. So, what does that mean? Perfection with no errors may be necessary for certain products and services. Okay. Would you want to go out and purchase strawberry ice cream? And then you go, you get that big old spoon, and you go and you dig in and you go to eat that strawberry ice cream, and it's blueberry. Guess what? Somebody messed up, right? That quality standard is not there. So a lot of times, perfection with no errors is what needs to occur, or you're going to have a lot of unhappy people, and that's going to affect your overall budget and financials when you're looking at it from a manager perspective. So quality standards equals describes expected consistency in production or performance. So you got to make sure that that perfection with no errors is there. Next one, time standard, rules about time. So these rules decide how long it should take to do the work. So we have our quantity. Hey, we got to get 50 bicycles out, right? Quality, we got to make sure that everything's working. There's perfection and no error, right? And now we have a time standard. Well, the time standard that manager gives about those bicycles is you have to have 50 done in a day. Okay. So we have to have it done by the end of the day. You got 8 hours to do it. Okay. So, how long it should take to do the work. Time rules affect how much work is done and how well it's done. In some businesses, like building houses, making pastries, they have strict time rules because not following them can mean losing money. So, think about it. We're under construction right now, okay? And they said 4 years, okay? And they had a budget. Let's just say the budget was $1 million, okay? And they had 4 years to do it, but it's taken them 4.5 years to do it. Well, guess what? It's going to cost you more money, okay? So maybe it's going to be $1.5 million because it's taking longer. So you're going to lose money if the construction company isn't keeping up with what they need to do, right? So time is important that you stay on track. Making pastries, if you're not up at 5 a.m. making those fresh donuts in the morning, guess what? People aren't going to show up to your pastry shop to buy donuts. So you have to make sure that you're on time with certain products. So time standard equals established amount of time needed to complete an activity. The last one here is cost standard. So rules about cost. So one important thing in business is making money. Okay, you got to make money in order to stay in business. And to do that, we need to either sell more or we need to spend less. So everyone can help by not wasting things and working effectively and efficiently. Following cost rules helps a business stay profitable. All right. So this goes back to those previous ones, your quantity, your quality, and your time, right? So if you're doing your quantity correctly, if the quality of product that's coming out is good, if you're doing it in the correct amount of time, then your cost standard is going to be there. Okay. But if you're not doing those first three things, you're going to start losing money, right? So cost standard is that last piece that we want to make sure that we're achieving. So cost standards equals the predetermined cost of performing an operation or producing a good or service. So again, the quantity, the quality, and the time is going to affect your cost standard. Let's talk a little bit deeper about cost standard. So cost standard, profit. Okay, profit is what we're wanting, because if you're doing it correctly, you got your quantity in place, your quality, your time, and your cost is good, then you're going to make money. Okay. And profit is an important measure of success. Of failure of a firm is financial profit or loss. Okay. So if you're doing well or you're not doing well, it's going to overall affect your business. So profit equals income minus cost. So that means this is all the money that you're coming in. Okay. So let's say your current profit is $1,000, but your cost to make those products cost you $700. Okay. That means you're getting $300 of profit. Right. You made your 50 bicycles there, those 50 bicycles, it cost you, let's say, $500 to put all those bicycles together, but you sold them for $1,000. Well, your profit is $500, right? So it's income minus cost. So therefore, managers can increase profits by either increasing their sales revenue, so charging more for the product that you're selling, or decreasing costs. So let's say you need to make more money on those bicycles. Well, maybe you caught an employee and make the responsibility fall on one person to put those 50 bicycles together every day. And that's going to minimize your overall costs because you're not having to pay more than one person, right? So then that way you're going to make more money. So maybe it only takes $250 to put those bicycles together, which then gives you an additional amount of money of $750 versus $500 in profit. So the most widely used tool for controlling costs, though, is the budget. So as a manager, you're going to want to make sure you are looking at and reviewing that budget, make sure you're staying on track. And if you notice that maybe your costs to make or build something is higher than what you're bringing in for your profit, you need to look at that budget and say, hey, I need to make some changes here, kind of figure out where we need to go with that. And that is called having a variance, which we're going to spend some time looking at over the next couple of days. So again, let's review. We have the 4 types of standards of control, okay? Control being the final function in the 4 functions of management. And if you remember, planning, right? Organizing, staffing, leading, and now we're in the controlling phase, okay? The control. So you have to have your quantity standard. How many things are you going to put out? The quality standard. Are they perfect with no errors? How long is it going to take you to get it done, right? That time standard. And how much is it going to cost you? Are you going to make a profit? Or are you going to go into the red and not make any money? So you have to kind of balance all 4 of those in order to be successful.